the Vikings are making a playoff push.
Bailey from 23 to walk off. Snap spot. Bailey! Sixth win. The Vikings win 27-24. Bailey walks off a winner for the first time in his kicking career with the Minnesota Vikings.
Now, I will say this, having watched this game and looked at it, if you just looked at the stats, you would be amazed because the Vikings had a 300-yard passer, a 100-yard rusher, a 100-yard receiver. You would think that they would have dominated a 1-11 Jacksonville Jaguars team. I would say that these numbers are a surprise because they didn't have their best game. But I think it is a reflection of the talent that they have. Dalvin Cook is awesome. He's one of the best running backs in football. Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the rookie class. And I think when you look at his game, he has everything. I feel like he was underrated during the process. And now that we've had a chance to see him play in the league, he is everything that you look for as a potential number one receiver, as a route runner. And Kirk Cousins, when he's allowed to play in a very comfortable fashion where the running game is allowing him to set up and throw play passes, he's as good as it gets. And this team defensively played without Eric Kendricks. They still had 4 sacks, and they turned it on when they needed it. Mike Zimmer has done a good job of keeping it together. And this is a team that is a very dangerous team to face down the stretch because they can run it. They have 2 receivers that can get open. And if Kirk Cousins is on his game in a one-game scenario, he can outduel any gunfighter.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd have to go back to 6th grade the last time I saw a player get injured doing pregame karaoke and miss the game. Like Eric Kendrick. I mean, I feel bad. I feel horrible for him. That is just awful luck. And he's such a key part of what they've been doing on defense. And this resurgence for the Vikings, who are now a playoff team in the NFC after starting 1-5. They've won 5 of their last 6, and they are now the 7th seed in the NFC. And I mean, like they don't have a cakewalk down the stretch here. They still have the Bucks and the Saints left to play, but the way they're playing, man, they can match up with anybody. They've got everything you need on offense, right? They've got as we've detailed with Justin Jefferson, they have a 1,000-yard rookie receiver. They have the running back in Dalvin Cook in the running game that's hard to defend. And then on defense, you just always feel like Mike Zimmer's going to have them prepared enough to make a stand against anybody. And I don't know. They may not end up in the playoffs, but the way they've turned it around, I think they'll make a case for certainly deserving it.
Yeah, I give Mike Zimmer a lot of credit for getting the issues solved on the defensive side of the ball. But I want to go back to, I think this is over the summer. Nabil was able to pull this up. Because, look, personally I've said so many dumb things on here that I deserve rightful criticism for. And, Bucky, we get heat for this or that. And our pinky promise is not looking so good right now with the Arizona Cardinals. We're going to set that aside. But I knew that we had gone strong on Justin Jefferson as a podcast. So Nabil, I think, has been able to pull this up. Let's go back in time. This is over the summer talking about Justin Jefferson and the Vikings.
But I believe his production will eclipse Stephon Diggs, who left and went to the Buffalo Bills. I really think Justin Jefferson is kind of made to play with a guy like Kirk Cousins. When you look at the success that Kirk had in Washington and the comfort level he had there, I think you're going to see the same type of a thing. We saw him take a step forward last year with Minnesota, and I just look at the guys that he's traditionally had success with. To me, Justin Jefferson matches up.
And that was co-signed by Buck. That was a selfish clip there where it's my voice, but Bucky has said all the same things and echoed them. Rhett, I know we've had conversations, so I'm letting you come alongside us here because it was just a perfect marriage. It was a perfect marriage of his skill set with Kirk Cousins. And I know early in the year, and Stephon Diggs has been great, and that trade's worked out perfect for both teams, and Buffalo's happy that they have him. But we said throughout the time, like, look, Minnesota got younger, they got cheaper, and they've got as good, if not better, production, and they have. Justin Jefferson's got 61 catches, over 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns. He's got more yards, he's got more touchdowns, he's got a better yards per catch than Stephon Diggs. I mean, he has been I mean, to me, it looked like a phenomenal move there for the Minnesota Vikings, Buck.
So Bucky, DJ just turning the knife into his Philly faithful right now after seeing them pass up on the opportunity to take Justin Jefferson. Maybe Rager ends up being as good, but right now it's
Rager looked good. He had a good game
contest
against the Packers. There you go. All right, what do we got here? What's the final takeaway here?
Final takeaway for the second week in a row. The Giants are still a playoff team.
3 receivers left. Wilson takes the snap. He's back to throw. He's under pressure. Flushed out to his left. Stands back there. Now he's going to moonball it down the middle of the field. High in the air. Batted down and incomplete. And the New York Giants are going to leave Seattle with a victory as they stop the Seahawks on 4th and 18 with 37 seconds to go.
Guys, Bob Papa's starting to feel it on the Giants radio broadcast. He's starting to feel these calls a little bit. I mean, I felt like for the last 2 years, it's just the depression in his voice has been audible, and now he's back. And so are the Giants. And my tagline is much more than just a punchline now, it seems, because the Giants are playing good football. And they went into Seattle with a guy at quarterback who has not won a game as a starter since 2014 in Colt McCoy, and they pull off a victory. And I think a lot of credit goes to Joe Judge, and maybe even more credit goes to defensive coordinator Pat Graham for figuring this thing out, running a defense that pressured and befuddled the once considered MVP run of Russell Wilson. Leonard Williams, 2.5 sacks. He's now got a career high, 8.5 on the season. The Giants are allowing under 17 points a game since week 9. I mean, like they are doing a great job limiting the rush. They've got 10 takeaways since week 9 on this win streak for the Giants, which is now 4 in a row. I mean, it's getting more impressive by the week here, Buck.
Look, very impressive group. And I know we made light of Joe Judge and the laps and the up downs and all the other stuff that the Giants were doing. But here's what I will say, and this is what I do believe in. I believe the way the football team plays has to be reflective of the city that is the franchise is located in. In New York, you talk about a blue-collar town, a blue-collar team, something where it has to be kind of grizzled. And when I look at the New York Giants, they play in a fashion that reflects the Giants and how you need to play in New York. They're tough, they're hardworking, they're competitive, they're big in the trenches, they control the trenches, they're doing a great job of taking care of the football, and on defense, they beat you up. And they beat you up over time. And I think that is a recipe that is long lasting. I think you can have sustainable results that way. And even though the methods to me may be a little archaic, Joe Judge has a level of authenticity with his players that they're buying in. And the Giants are a force. And we saw this, and DJ and I talked about it on a Thursday night watching them against the Eagles. They play hard, and they're going to be a tough team to knock out because they believe in wearing you down over the course of a 60-minute game, and it has given them a chance to win this division.
Yeah, and I think, going back and watching that video after watching the Chargers against the Patriots live yesterday, then I turn on the tape of the Giants versus the Seahawks, and it is so similar to what they do defensively with the Giants and the Patriots in terms of the games that they run up front, able to really, really execute those at a high level. Leonard Williams has had a field day on those twists all season long. You mentioned those 8.5 sacks. He's been outstanding. And then making you try and throw through a bunch of bodies down the field. And Russell Wilson never got comfortable. They were dropping guys. They were zone dropping defensive linemen to spy him. They were bringing safeties down to spy him. They just had it was a beautiful game plan that was executed very well by the Giants. And I think, look, we can kind of talk about Coach of the Year candidates and Sean Payton, what he's done, with Drew Brees being out and them continuing to roll along. You look at Matt LaFleur, the way the Green Bay Packers have played all year long. Obviously, Andy Reid is going to deserve a lot of credit. Mike Tomlin's got the only undefeated team in football. But if I'm being honest, to me, the most impressive in terms of how they look from last year to this year is what Joe Judge has done with the Giants. I know they don't have a winning record, but they're winning that division. It's just it's a different looking football team, Buck, than the one we've seen previously.
Absolutely a different looking football team. And what I do hope this does, I hope when we have the coaching carousel, I hope it prompts more general managers and owners to look at special teams coaches. And the reason why I say this is because the special teams coach is the only guy who coaches everybody on the football team. He naturally is exposed to management skills in terms of managing the game, managing situations, managing personnel. And I'm just hoping that Joe Judge's success in terms of the way this team looks will inspire some decision makers to at least give solid consideration to special teams coaches when the carousel kicks off in a few weeks.